Hi, this is Sherry B from SOS Speeches, and today's video is about job searching. So many people will go out into search engines and just type in random words and say, oh, that job looks interesting or close or whatnot, I'm going to apply for it, without much thought behind what they're doing. So as a Lean Six Sigma approach, we're going to go down into the 5 whys of a job search. So this is asking yourself 5 whys. Say, I want a job. Why? So I can make money. Why? Because I have bills to pay. Why? Because I have living expenses, because I have XYZ. Why? Because that's my comfort level of life. Okay, good. So now, knowing those 5 whys, you've come into, I need, basically what it boils down to is to make X amount of money. I'm going to look for jobs on that. Other people may have different things. I want to get down to the point where I'm learning more. I want to go into management. Why? Because I want to help people. So keep asking yourself the 5 whys, and that will narrow down what it is that you're truly looking for. Don't just apply for everything and anything out there. What is it truly that you need? Are you looking for a higher paying job? Are you looking for a job within certain hours so you can spend time with your family? Are you looking for a job that's relatively close because you don't have a vehicle? Are you brand new to the workforce and just need the experience? So depending on what that is going to depend on what you're going for. And there's many different search engines that you can use. There's different avenues that you can go about looking for jobs. So if you're interested in those, I'm not going to support them here on this channel, but if you ping me or private message me, I can tell you the different avenues to go down and the ones that I find really useful, but I'm not going to endorse them here. So getting down narrow to what you want is going to really help you with your job search. So say that you got that. Say you're brand new to the workforce and you just need that working experience. You're not going to apply for the jobs that have those degrees needed on it if you're straight out of high school. So narrowing it down, so say you're directly out of high school and you have no work experience whatsoever, and you're going to go into college. You know that you can do a part-time job, and so that's what you're searching for. You're not really going after the money at the moment, you just need that experience to have a little bit of money for food and books and things like that in school. So say you find those jobs that you're interested in. What next? You don't have a resume to send them, so what do you do? Well, you can put together some sort of resume if you are interested in that. Put together the experiences that you had in high school and volunteer opportunities, what you're interested in, but mostly you're just going to be applying for an application, and most of the time it's going to be online because that's the way the culture is going. You're not really going to be handwriting in an application in the future. Unfortunately, this is kind of a catch-22. You really want that job, but people filter through online applications so much that it's going to be kind of hit and miss on if you actually get accepted or not. Now, if you're applying for a position that is equal to what your experiences are, you may get an interview. So now you have the interview. They call you. What do you say? Well, first, if you don't know the number that's calling you, you should always have a greeting. Good morning, good afternoon, hello, this is blah, 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 and then you wait for them to respond. You don't want to answer your phone, yo, what's up, if you don't know who's calling you, because that is your first initial reaction, and it's your first initial communication with a potential employer. If the employer is a business office setting, they may be like, okay, don't really know if I want to go further with this. So it's all about impressions, from interviews to follow-up interviews to getting your resume out there. It's all about first impressions. You're not usually face-to-face with anybody anymore when you're applying, so you've got to make a good impression. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'ams go a really long way. It shows that you have politeness. It shows that, just mind your P's and Q's. Saying thank you instead of thanks. You're welcome instead of, yeah, whatever. goes a long way as well. It shows that you are professional. So answer the interview. Know your times and dates that you can go on an interview. There is nothing worse than setting somebody up for an interview for them to call you back a day before and say, oops, I forgot, I have blah 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 to do. Just say, I'm sorry, that time does not work for me. These are my available times, and go from there. That goes a long way. Shows that you you know your schedule, so you have that time sensitivity, and that's one thing that people are looking for. So there's these little tiny tricks and tips along the way that you can do that puts you in a much better standing, even if you don't have that initial the initial experience that they're looking for. So getting the interview, you put your resume out there. Oh, let's talk about resumes for a second. Okay, so you have some work experience. Your resume, there are templates out there. Use a template. Some resumes just, they're really busy, or they're really sparse, or spell check your resume. Please, 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 if you do nothing else, spell check your resume and have somebody else that's good at grammar read your resume. You don't want to put past tense with future tense on your resume. You don't want to have education up here and then education down again up here with your certificates. Put it in a logical format. You don't have to put every single job you have ever had on a resume. Tailor it to that job. So for example, if you were a cashier and you are going for an administrative position, you don't want to put know how to use a phone. What? Know how to use a fax machine. Say understanding of office environment. That leads more credibility than I know how to use a phone. I'm just putting things on here to make it look really busy. Explain the work that you did, but tailor it to what you are applying for. You don't need to list every single thing that you did at that job. That's what the interview is for. Don't write in paragraph sentence. Bullet points are easy and quick for people to read, and if you are applying for a position that there are tons of other people applying for it, you need your resume to stand out for one, but you also want your resume to be easily read, because I guarantee you, and I hate to admit it, but people that look at resumes are skimming them. They are skimming the resumes. They're looking for key things and they're moving on. And you want yours to be put in the yes pile and not the no pile. So put the relevant information up front if you're doing a bullet point. So say I have this job. These are the bullet points here that are most likely aligned with the position that I am applying for. And these ones, maybe not. They're a little bit different, but just want to show you that I have responsibility, time management skills, those different types of things. Have your header information on there, your contact information. If you put your email address on a resume, you better be checking your email for an interview. I've had several people that said, well, who checks their email? If you put it on there as a contact, you're going to be contacted via email, quite possibly, and that's no excuse to miss an interview. More than likely, you're not going to get a second chance if you don't respond to it. Call people back right away. People are really busy, their schedules are sensitive and important, and they need to know if you're available or not. So you don't have to call them back 5 seconds later, but don't take a day or two to get back to somebody unless they specifically tell you to call me on this day at this time. Let's see, what else about resumes? Different colored paper. It doesn't really mean much. If you're getting high glossed professional paper and you're applying for a dishwasher position, it sends a confusing message. Just plain white paper is going to be fine. A lot of days now it's electronic, so you're going to be sending it that way. Oh, electronic. Make sure it's a standard app or standard program that you're using if you're going to apply and attach something. You don't want to have your resume as a JPEG. You don't want to take a picture of your resume and then upload that. Make sure that it's going to be, if they're using an Apple, that they're going to be able to open it. If they're using Microsoft Office, which a lot of people use Microsoft Office, they'll be actually able to open it and read it. You want to keep your resume depending on what position you're applying for. If you're applying for a CEO position, your resume is going to be several pages. But if you're applying for a cashier position for your first job, and you had previous cashier experience, you're not going to want to send them in a 5-page resume. Keep it to 1 page if you can, and highlight your main key things, and that's it. References are great. People will usually ask you for your references later unless the job application actually asks for you to submit your references. Put down at the bottom, references can be provided upon request. And call your references. Some jobs call your references before you ever get that interview. Some people will call your references after the first interview, and some people will call your references right before they're actually about to offer you the position. So you want to talk to those references. You want to have the updated contact information. You want to have how they're related to you, and not just related to you, but were they a past boss? Were they an old co-worker? Are they your mom or dad? You know, different things like that. You want professional contact, somebody that can speak to your character, somebody that can speak to you. They can't legally ask certain things of your references, so just keep that in mind. But they can ask, would you hire this person again? Just to confirm they did work for you, blah, 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 blah. So those types of questions. They can't ask about your age, your ethnicity, your religion, and they can't ask you about that stuff in interviews either. So if you find yourself in an interview where people are asking you about those types of things, just know this is not a place that I want to work for, because they don't know the law. But references upon request. There's templates out there for resumes. Go look at one. Use one. Now, for a specific example, you don't always have to put your address on a resume. Some people look at that and look at, oh my gosh, it's going to take you an hour and a half to get here. I can't really discriminate against you where you live, but I could ask, is there any reason that you may not be able to work within these time constraints? So I actually had that. I live way outside of the normal boundary of where I'm actually employed at, and if somebody brought that up, it's not a problem for me. I enjoy my long drive. I enjoy my me time. I like to defrag on my way to and from work. It's worth it where I live because of XYZ. I don't have to go into the detail, but I do, and it's worth it for me to come all the way here to this company. So there are things that you can say to address that, but you don't have to always put your address. You can say greater Dallas area, greater Seattle area, and if they ask you, then go into it, but they should not discriminate against you. As long as you can get your butt to work on time, how long it takes you to get there is your prerogative, but just know that they will probably ask, because that's a concern. Are you going to be able to get here on time? And so you need to have an answer for that. So that's resumes. Spell check, have references available, let your references know, have it in a good format, put your highlighted information at the top, bullet point things, have your correct information. If you're going to have your email address on there, make sure that you're checking your email address. On your application, make sure that you put times that you can work, be truthful on that, respond in a prompt, timely manner, answer your phone with a correct greeting and who you are. Actually spell out thank you, you're welcome, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Make sure that you're polite, make sure you know your times that you are available to interview, and then ask those few questions that you need. What do I need to bring to my interview? Just to confirm it was at this time, at this date. Will you please follow up with an email on directions, or where is your location? Make sure that you have all of that. Who am I meeting with? Who is the person that I'm meeting with? Okay, and what is their title? those different things. So I hope that helps with the search and preliminary of getting you in that door for that interview.